Hey guys, it's Everseen here. Back again with my monk. I know a lot of you have probably seen my warrior to monk video where I pretty much just shat on warrior the whole time, and I didn't really get to show my monk that much. I figured I would do like a complete overview of my character right now, kind of what's working for me. I'm currently level almost 92 in SSF, 91%, and then I've died a total of 15 times on this guy. Not proud of that. I actually wanted to not die very many times on this guy, simply because I'm mostly a hardcore gamer, so yeah, it kind of pains me to say that I've died that many times. A lot of it has been due to the Ascendancy giving the chilled ground when you freeze an enemy. So when you do kill an enemy and there's chilled ground, the on-death effects, I just find they don't have really good audio. The bearers, if you know what I'm talking about, especially if you're a POE1 vet, you would know that playing with the bearers, it was really easy to see them before and stuff. In POE2, it's not. So yeah, the bearers have been killing me a lot because they charge up. Basically, anytime I kill a rare monster now, I just roll like 2 times out of the way because I'm just so scared of getting killed by something after I've killed the enemy. So yeah, the on-death effects have been really bad, and also the chaos volatile plants have killed me a number of times. Chaos damage is kind of my #1 pet peeve right now because I only have 21% chaos res, and yeah, CI is pretty much on the horizon for me just so I can get away from that. Once I go CI, I'm definitely going to pump a bunch of ritual as well so that I can get an ingenuity and really benefit off of my rings a bit more. Yeah, so I was just gonna go over all my gear, all my passives, and I'll go over the Atlas tree a little bit too, and I'll show a map of me. I'm gonna do this T16 here. It only has 1 damage mod. It's not like a crazy map or anything, but I'm gonna do it as an 82 zone, kind of show you how breaches have been really good for me. And yeah, map boss. So to start out, let's talk about the skills. So the skills that I'm using are obviously Ice Strike. Charge Staff has been really good. It gives you a lot of damage and really helps out your synergy between your Herald of Thunder and Herald of Ice explosions. So if you guys don't know what's been going on, Don the Crown has pretty much, I think, founded the idea of using the 2 Heralds together. Before, it was just using Herald of Ice and using the poor circling ring or whatever for any time you chill an enemy and they shatter and it causes a huge explosion. But yeah, anyway, I've been doing the Herald one. I had enough currency, enough stuff to actually, 6-link my Herald. You don't really need Herald Device 6-link. 5-link is fine for both. I do think 5-link is probably what you do want. You can do it on 4 links. But yeah, just every little link you get, not so much Herald of Thunder, but Herald Device definitely likes having the 5 gems here. Herald of Thunder has a +1 level of supported lightning skills right now. I could probably add Cold Infusion into this, but I don't want to give it up on Ice Strike. So anyway, let's just begin with the skills. So Ice Strike, I'm using Martial Tempo for more attack speed, Cold Infusion obviously for cold damage, and then Concentrated Effect for a lot of damage. It takes away your AoE. I'm not sure if this takes away your strike range, so it might not be great using this on lower levels, where your strike range just isn't going to be as far. But when you get up higher, Conk Effect gives me almost a 30% damage increase pretty much. So you want Conk Effect, it's really good. And then Primal Armament, and then Ice Bite. One thing to note about Ice Strike is that we are trying to attack very fast. Right now my attack speed is really good, and I want Primal Armament is kind of my only cost multiplier support gem, as you can see. So only 120%. I thought about using Close Combat. That might be a much later thing, especially once I want to do Cold Infusion on my Herald to get even better clear, but I really don't need to. The clear is already kind of really good. And even with like a 70% more monster life map, even a increased elemental ailment threshold map, I'm still just like chain reacting and destroying. So I'm not really too worried about it. Once I do have all my buffs up in a map, I'm around 100k, 120k tooltip, which is pretty good for me. Right now, my crit chance is only sitting at 36%, which is not great, and my crit multiplier is very, very low. I haven't invested much into crit multiplier. I've pretty much just been trying to invest into like flat damage and stuff. As you can see, I'm at like 34k to 7400 gold. Not that great, could be a lot better, but Ingenuity is going to pump that up a ton. And then also Hands of Wisdom in Action is kind of something that I want to place on the build instead of these crappy gloves. Get some Mana Leech on a ring so that I can replace the Mana Leech on my gloves, because yes, this does help. even though we're only doing a little bit of fizz damage with Ice Strike, you are definitely leeching mana off of it. So the more damage we have for Ice Strike, though, the better your Leech is actually going to perform. So it's more of a later thing, too. Like, Leech is going to be very, very important. But yeah, so Ingenuity is going to increase the build a lot. Hands of Wisdom and Action is going to increase it a lot. And yeah, I've just been kind of rolling over all the content. T15, T16 maps. Just farming those. Bossing, I haven't really perfected the bossing rotation. I'm not really trying to rush doing pinnacle bosses with it at the moment. I'm still trying to get better gear. As you can see, like, my gear is really like nothing to boast about. Yeah, let's just keep going with the skills first. Basically, I'm using Hand of Chayula, which is going to give us our freezing mark, which is nice. It gives us more freeze buildup. It's good for bossing, basically. And then Hypothermia is going to give it, you know, more cold pen, basically, on a boss. And then I have increased effect of curses to make Hypothermia even better for bosses. Tempest Bell, you definitely want Overabundance. This is like a best-in-slot gem for this. The cool thing about it is that you can, basically, all you need to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 1, and then you have a bell. You drop the bell, and then as you're hitting the bell, you can actually build up a second bell while the first one's down. But if you don't have Overabundance on, you cannot build a second bell, and you have to wait until the bell disappears or gets destroyed before you can actually build up and then summon another one. So your damage uptime is a lot better using 2 bells. So that's kind of the rotation, is you put a bell down and you hit it, and then once this one fills up again, then you use it, and it keeps going. And on my bell, I've actually got a lot of mana stuff on it to kind of facilitate the mana costs of Ice Strike, because that's sort of an issue for single target. I'm using Font of Mana, which gives us more mana regeneration. And then I'm also using Fizz Damage Leech from supported skills as mana. The bell, I believe, does pretty much just Fizz on the Shockwave. Yeah, 1600 to 3000. So that gives us a lot of Leech in itself, right? And then I'm using Heft, which is just more melee physical damage. And I'm also using Rage. So Rage is really good. You want to put this on the bell because you're going to Shockwave this so much that you're going to build up Rage like almost instantly. So yeah, that's pretty much my setup. And then I'm using Charge Staff as well. Charge Staff is really interesting, and I'm not sure if this totally works or not, but I believe it does because it counts as like a separate attack entity. So it does stack and use at the same time as your Ice Strike, but it's basically like combining 2 skills in one. Like, I pretty much have like a 9 link right now. So like I have lightning and cold exposure on it so that I just get much more damage. And then I have inspiration on it. I'm not sure if basically what I don't understand yet, I'm still learning about the build and everything, is that I don't know if Charge Staff is 62 mana to press my key to activate the buff, which then persists for 20 seconds or whatever, or if there's an actual associated mana cost every single strike that I do. I just don't know, and I haven't paid enough attention to really see it. But anyway, I have cold and lightning exposure on there just so that I can get those benefits whenever I'm doing a boss. But yeah, I'm also unsure. I've been swapping around my Ascendancy a lot. I was in I Am the Thunder. It's kind of nice for your clear to do I Am the Thunder, but Unbound Avatar is absolutely insane for single target damage, and you pretty much just want to have more skill effect duration on it, so you raise its levels a bit, and you put more skill effect duration, and this is for, like, bossing, which is going to give you an insane multiplier on your damage. So basically the rotation is going to be you palm into the boss, you're going to start striking, hopefully get a power charge once you've frozen them, consume the power, basically you're going to hit and then place a bell, keep hitting, build up a second bell, whatever, and then whenever you can use Charge Staff, you use it, and then you just basically hold Ice Strike, and you're just doing bell, Ice Strikes, and then you're using Unbound Avatar to get, like, insane damage multiplier. I did try the Elemental Invocation setup where you can use Eye of Winter, I think is what it's called. It's like the little rotating disc with a bunch of cascading frozen projectiles. It felt okay. It was kind of cool. Like, it basically rang the bell like a gazillion times in a second, which is really good for freeze buildup, but I wasn't really impressed by the damage, and I thought that the damage was actually a lot worse than just using Hand of Chayula, so I just opted for Hand of Chayula instead. And yeah, I'll go over my Spirit Gems too. So I'm using Combat Frenzy. We're using this to get an additional charge, and it's basically we're getting a Frenzy charge when we freeze, but we're actually getting a power charge because of Resonance, the keystone, so it's gain power charges instead of Frenzy charges. And then I'm using my Herald of Thunder, my Herald of Ice. I want to skip over these for a second because there is a bit to talk about for them. You want Wind Dancer, and Wind Dancer with quality also gives max 1 stages, so you definitely want this. 19% more evasion rating per stage. So a nice thing to note about more, this 19% more that you see, it is not increased evasion rating. So a lot of the times people will think, and I used to think this as well, that more and increased are the same thing. No, more is actually a multiplier. So what 19% more does is it takes this node and this node and this node and this 60%, 100% evasion. Like, it takes all of these evasion nodes and it multiplies it up. So Wind Dancer is giving us a lot of evasion. So you definitely want this, and you want the maximum stage because it just makes it better. When you are hit, basically there will be a radius shockwave that goes out, and it can cull, which is just an extra nice added bonus. We do blind because it is really nice if you're next to an enemy. They hit you hard for some reason, and then you blind them instantly, and blind just makes it so that they're harder. Like, it's going to make them harder to actually hit you because blind reduces accuracy. And then maim is just more physical damage. It's nothing crazy. I mean, maybe this is decent for the bell. We don't do a lot with Ice Strike, right? So it is what it is. And then the last one that I've fit in is Grim Feast. So this is an insanely broken item right now, or skill, and it's primarily supposed to be used for minions, but basically every single build that uses Energy Shield is using this because you can actually overflow to double your Energy Shield cap. So right now I have 3,700 Energy Shield, and in a map it goes up to like 7,800 Energy Shield, which is ridiculous with the amount of life I get to, like 1,500. So we're looking at like a 9k, maybe 8k effective hit pool, which is pretty crazy. And I've just like got so much spirit on my character that I just threw in a bunch of supports. So I put in Clarity, and then I also put in Precision, and then Cannibalism I want to talk about because a lot of you might think if I'm playing a life energy shield build, and traditionally what happens is your energy shield gets damaged first before your life. But I'm making use of an interaction with this helmet. It's Atziri's Distain, which is a really good budget helmet. I'm not sure how much this costs in software, but I'm assuming it doesn't cost that much. Maybe it does. I just play SSF, so I don't know the prices of items really. But basically the way that this item is working is that 20% of damage taken bypasses energy shield. So instead of your energy shield taking the full brunt of the damage, 21% of it is actually going to go to my life instead. So this works really nice for mapping because I can basically use Cannibalism and effectively get Leech from Cannibalism for my life, and then also be picking up Grim Feast stacks for instant recovery to my energy shield. So this is working as basically a double dipping, you would call, like for Leech. This was commonly done in POE1 with an Archmage Hierophant. Basically what you would do is you would get Life Leech and also Energy Shield Leech simultaneously working at the same time. There was a jewel in POE1 that would actually give you a mod. It was called Corrupted Soul, which basically did the exact same thing. Another thing, too, is this helmet is ridiculous. You gain 29% of your maximum life as extra maximum energy shield. Without this helmet, I have 2,100 energy shield, and with it, I have 3,700. Insane item. This is basically Ghost Wraith, too, if any of you guys have tried using that body armor. Unique body armor, it's insanely good for energy shield. I just don't want to use that because I have to use evasion and energy shield on a Invoker monk because of Lead Me Through Grace, which gives me all of my spirit, right? So that's pretty much why I am not using that. And I just found this, and it has 20% rarity, so I figured why not chuck it on for now. I am going to pivot out of that, but I need to get a better helmet. Right now, this was the helmet that I was using. Not very good energy shield. It had some decent life and some resistances. That was basically it. I want to talk about, well, like so far we've gone through everything, but I want to talk about these kind of separately because these are the most confusing part of the build. I was fortunate enough to not really struggle on not getting chain reactions because I ended up getting a crazy staff pretty early on, so I was able to facilitate these interactions pretty simply. So the thing that's working here is Herald of Ice. If you look in the breakdown of the skill, it tells you that it cannot cause freeze buildup. So this is the same thing that will happen with Herald of Thunder, which is cannot inflict shock. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know about Herald of Ash, but anyway, these two, what we're trying to do is make the lightning skill do cold damage only. And, well, not only, but we're trying to freeze with Herald of Thunder, and then we are trying to shock with Herald of Ice. So Having both these skills on a 4-link is totally enough to facilitate the exchange. This +1 lightning skill gems is really not like the craziest thing to boast about. It is just an extra because I had an extra link, so why not? I could even put a 6-link, but I don't even know what I'd put in here. Basically, the 4-link for Herald of Ice is you always want the magnified effect, and then I would do Lightning Infusion, and then Conduction is really nice because it gives us just easier time to shock so that we can actually proc Herald of Thunder. And then Coursing Currents, like, sure, it works decent. You get better chain reactions that way. And Innervate, if you don't have, like, the links that I do, obviously, because not everybody's fortunate enough to get a ridiculous amount of 6 links. Yeah, I dropped, like, 6 of them or something so far in SSF. It's kind of ridiculous. My warrior dropped all of them. But yeah, you could put Innervate on Charge Staff, so that's another option. And Inspiration, I don't even know if it does anything, right? So you could just chuck on Innervate and Charge Staff, and you still get that proc every once in a while type of thing. So yeah, basically the interactions are like, Herald of Ice is, you know, you want more area because this is going to be the one that does the most damage and clears, and then you want to basically make it do more lightning damage, more chance to shock. Charge Staff is also going to give us a lot of lightning damage, flat lightning damage, right, from consuming a power charge. And then it's going to cause Herald of Ice to shock a lot easier. And once it does shock, Herald of Thunder is going to proc, rain down a lightning bolt on the target, and it's going to do 100% more critical hit chance because most of the time, a lot of the enemies are going to be on full life. So it's going to crit basically every single time, causing a freeze with a lot of freeze buildup. And then a long shot's really good because the more it cascades out, the farther it is from you, like way back here off screen, it's going to do like a shitload more damage. So that's why we have that. And then Lightning Mastery, I said it was just to bump it up a level because why not? But yeah, this is kind of how I feel about these two skills. You pretty much need a decent weapon in order to get these chain reactions to go off. So I want to talk a little bit about the tooltip on Ice Strike and go over sort of the differences in weapons and be more of a PSA of like, if you don't have a good weapon, your build is going to feel like shit. You may be able to clear like T10s, T11s with, you know, a staff like this, where this staff is completely shit. It is 120 to 217 fizz. We want way higher fizz because all that fizz gets converted to cold, right? And we're never going to roll enough cold damage on a staff to actually warrant actually just going for cold damage on a staff. We want the fizz damage 100%. You only want fizz. And that's where I landed on this puppy, where I had the percent, I got the other percent, and then I actually chaosed on the T7 flat fizz, which is insanely lucky, especially in SSF. So this weapon right now, if I was to swap out this weapon right here, I was using this up until maps and like T10s, and it was item level 37. So just to give you a little bit of perspective on how hard it is to get weapons in SSF, yeah. But it did the job. I was still able to get my chain reactions and stuff, but watch my tooltip. I literally put this staff on, and my damage takes, I'm basically doing 1/3 of the damage that I would if I had this staff on. That's because the low end of this staff is literally higher than the high end of this one. So yeah, having a good weapon is going to be really mandatory. Things to look out for on rings that you really want are cold damage, like percent cold damage. I've been going for cold damage over lightning damage. Getting lightning damage is okay too. But if anything, you want flat lightning damage because it's going to scale and make your Herald of Ice shock a lot easier. And yeah, basically, I've just been trying to get percentage cold damage. I landed on this ring, which was really nice. So I got 34%. I've still yet to get a good ring for this slot. And then once I go CI, I'm going to drop the life roll and just basically try and get flat damage or percentage damage. And that's going to like really scale your damage a lot. I'm going for Hands of Wisdom in action. I'm trying to farm Zesht 1 just to breeze through them and try and get those gloves. And then that will be a significant DPS increase, hopefully. And then, yeah, I just have, like, random gear, like this belt, whatever. It's just life and res. The boots are movement speed and res, and the energy shield is crap, so I'm looking to replace that. I already went over the helmet. The gloves, I have Mana Leech, which is really, really good, actually. Especially when you get into the higher scaling of the build, you do want Mana Leech. And then, yeah, I need to facilitate Mana Leech on a ring instead of my gloves, but for now, this is what it is. And then Hands of Wisdom in action is going to go here. And then I'll probably, once I do Hand of Wisdom in action, I'll switch to a rare helm again because I'm going to need resistances. And then my amulet is pretty good. It's got evasion rating, energy shield, increased max life. It gives me a lot of attributes right now, which is kind of good and bad, because I want to be able to use this other amulet that I've gotten, which is a gold amulet, and I've already anointed it and stuff. It has evasion rating, energy shield, flat energy shield, like percentage energy shield. And then it's got 26 rarity on it, some fire res, life regen's a useless stat, but that's what we ended up with. And then, yeah, I've been farming for like time loss jewels, and I'm able to get like decent ones. I got this one, which only really has one mod that I'm concerned about. Small passive skills also grant 2% increased cold damage. This is going to give you 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14% cold damage. So that's something to not sleep on. And then it's also going to give me magnitude of shock on each one of these notable passives, which is going to help further my Herald interactions. So yeah, that jewel's nice. I've been pretty much farming the Trials of Sekima too, off and on, to get really good jewels. Like this one's crit damage bonus, LE damage, penetration cold. I'm going to go down here and grab a jewel socket after, and then up here near CI is where I plan to grab a jewel socket. So jewels add a lot of damage to your build. So my Ice Strike right now, if I were to take this jewel out, it only goes down tooltip 2k, I guess, but it's still good jewel. I do want the cold damage. It just scales everything. But some of these other jewels I got, they actually take the tooltip. That one's like 4k, so I don't know. This time lost, I'm trying to get one that has attack speed and cold damage sort of thing, but for now, like SSF, you know, it's just hard to get. But yeah, so where's this other one? I got a really good one yesterday. It was I 5 mod corrupted the +1 max lightning res. Gives me herald skills, attack speed, attack damage. It's really important to try and go for attack damage as well, because say for example, I am thinking about going down here for all this melee attack speed and also some melee damage with strike range. But the problem is that heralds don't have melee in them. They only have attack. So you can see they have tags on them, if you don't know. But yeah, attack tag. Up here, if I was to go to Ice Strike, it has a melee tag. So I want attack damage because that's going to scale your heralds at the same time. So that's why I'm opting for this 3-point cluster here with attack damage. Yeah, and then like some jewels have attack damage, so it's really good. All right, and so I guess, yeah, let's talk about the passive tree too. Yeah, I'm having a bit of an identity crisis with Monk. I'm not really sure what I want to do with the Ascendancy points. The way I feel right now is dropping maybe and protect me from harm, but I think I'm waiting to go CI for that, and then going into acrobatics, which is going to give us a lot better use of our evasion rating. I find the physical damage reduction, though, is nice for when you do not evade an attack, because as I've always said before, evasion is a really nice mechanic until you do not evade and you get hit like a truck by something. But it seems to be decent to have this 71% phys damage reduction. Not sure how greatly that's being valued. Like, I don't know how effective that's being, but I like it. I don't know, it gives me more evasion rating too, so I'm not really complaining. But if I were to drop this, I would probably go for more crit chance, and critical hits ignore non-negative enemy monster elemental resistances. This is just going to make it so that I can drop these pen nodes, push them somewhere else, and then I can also benefit from like more freeze buildup, because if they don't have any elemental resistances, you build freeze up way faster. Another thing that I've been running is obviously Essence of the Mountain is kind of a no-brainer, but I've also been using the Storm one, Essence of the Storm, because I wanted more chance to shock. It's 45%, which is a huge value, and then you're also getting extra damage as lightning, which is really helpful. I pathed through all this crit. I was into this crit stuff, but I've since dropped it, and I wanted to grab more attack damage stuff to get better scaling. May or may not go back into it, but this is kind of where I'm at. Grabbed a bunch of evasion stuff, went over here. I was in this attack speed. I dropped that attack speed because I went over here for this attack speed cluster. So this one's really good. It gives you dex, 6% here. And then this one node is giving me like 18, no, it's like 13% attack speed or something like that with 214 dex. I can't remember how much it is. It's like 13, 14, maybe 15%, but that's a huge node. I am grabbing these 2 dex nodes. I don't want these. Eventually, once I get better gear, I'm going to drop these nodes and push them elsewhere. maybe even down into here and grab a jewel socket kind of thing. But yeah, I'm pretty much just going for all this evasion rating stuff. Herald stuff you want, all the quarterstaff stuff really, except for this node to consume an extra power charge because it's kind of irrelevant. This node's very important for the extra energy shield from your evasion on your body armor. These freeze nodes are super underrated for Monk. I would think that if I was going to go into this crit Ascendancy, I may even just do I Am the Thunder instead and drop Protect Me from Harm and basically go like keep these nodes, or I could go into this crit chance stuff, grab the Ignore Enemy Monster Elemental Resistances stuff, and then I can just like unspec this node or something. But I do like the freeze buildup it gives, so I'm unsure like what I really want to do. I'm probably thinking that like I Am the Thunder is probably the best way, because I don't know, like if I shock a boss, then it's shocked ground and they're just perma-shocked is really nice, like for instance, and then it also facilitates the reactions really good. And I also went into crit. I mean, it's up to you how you want to build it. Sarge put out a really good guide today, actually. It's just a fellow streamer, and he's really good. He's playing Monk, and he's rank 1 in HCSSF right now. He's not playing crit, and I actually kind of value his pathing and the way he did things. I may actually do that instead because it looks kind of nice. I don't want to worry about critting because when you don't crit, the damage doesn't feel nice, and that's kind of not my style of gameplay. If I'm going to play crit, I want to crit like almost all of the time. But getting 100% crit is pretty much ridiculously impossible. So that's about the passive tree in a nutshell for me. The next steps are to definitely go CI, and then I may try and path to some energy shield cluster, maybe up here and grab energy shield. That's 60% increase, so that's really good for CI. And it's only, you know, 5 more points, so I got to drop something else to grab that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not having too many thoughts about where I want to go. I mean, this whole rapid strike and reaching strike cluster looks really good, but I don't know. I may even go down here as well and grab, this is 20% and then 44% increased attack damage, which is going to scale with Heralds as well. So yeah, if you're having trouble with like your reactions and stuff too on like your interactions for Heralds, like try speccing into this stuff too, because increased attack damage is just going to give your Heralds a little bit more pop. And then I have Doomsayer pretty much permanently anointed because I really like it. It gives much more area effect and damage, so it just feels great. But yeah, so without further ado, let's just jump into a map. I'm going to chuck this somewhere in my sea of gear. We will go do this Val factory map. So I'll do the breach and I'll also do the boss. The boss is 82, so you get a good representation of like sort of the damage, how it's calcing on the boss, see the amount of like chain damage, I guess. Like I'll never, like it'll show the full boss's HP with damage kind of thing. But yeah, this pretty easy boss, only 1 damage mod, so let's just kind of send it. Yeah, I'll probably maybe cut this or not and then show you guys kind of the key parts, just because maps can be sort of a lot of time. I should have probably explained a bunch of things while I was mapping, but I just didn't really feel like it. So yeah, we'll just start doing the map. If you didn't have it, you just kind of strike Bell, and then once he gets frozen, you get a power charge and you can use that. So I'll consume, go here. He's got mana siphoner. So he's frozen right now. I'm gonna pop my Bell and all my Unbound Fury, and it's just gonna be kind of giga damage. Right now, this mana siphon is getting in the way though, so pretty much going to be perma-froze the whole time, so that's nice. I'm trying not to get shotgunned by his abilities, so really not a good showcase. But yeah, he dies pretty quick on a pinnacle boss without a mana siphoner. Like, what a fucking joke. That was kind of an unlucky showcase to get that one mod on a unique. If you guys don't know, too, that comes from the Atlas point here, Deadly Evolution. Rare and unique monsters in your maps have 1 to 2 additional modifiers. You get stunned too, which sucks. I go between having a stun and freeze charm. If you get +2 charms, it's really good. So I'll kind of clear this left side. And then I will clear the other side once the mobs have actually spawned, so you can kind of see the huge explosions that we're going to get. Also, when you're in a breach, you can pop Unbound Fury. If you see a huge bunch of density, so that you can make benefit of all of the elemental damage and also more chance to inflict ailments for your chain reactions. I also have the passive to open breaches slower, personally, because I kind of like it better. But yeah, as you can see already here, I'm not even gonna use Unbound Fury. I'm just gonna clear, and you guys can kind of see the explosions. Everything just like instantly dies. It's kind of crazy. I also have chilled ground on this map, so my attack speed's kind of misleading. They're all dead. Oh, you actually can't get through there. Kind of picked a terrible map to showcase this, because it's generally a lot fucking faster than this. There's... Trying to get good explosions, but it is sort of hard, too. It's just kind of a shitty map for this. There we go. So this is without Unbound, so like I could use Unbound Fury, and we would have a lot better explosions. But yeah, that's pretty much the breach. I think I saw a second one, so we'll just rip that too. Why not? I think it was over here. But yeah, this build walks over all the clearing type content in the game. Deli, same thing. Once you start getting into higher Deli effect, though, it does get harder to facilitate the explosions. Just because of the Delirious effect, it is a damage reduction. So, you know, things take less damage, you don't get as good of chain reactions. But, yeah. So, another thing, too, is I've noticed that, like, since I just swapped to Unbound, is that my I Am the Thunder was really good for clear. It was, like, way better for your interactions because you're getting magnitude of shock and stuff. So if you are having trouble with that, maybe think of going I Am the Blizzard and Thunder, because they synergize together, right? So yeah, as you can see, 82 map, you just walk over it. It's really not that hard. And my tankiness infinitely went up when I put on that helmet. I'm gonna pop Unbound here just so I can show you kind of with it. You're just one tapping the whole screen. Let's go over this way. And boom. Yep. Boom. See, yep. And the thing that's cool about it too is you build it up really quickly. Atlas passives was the next thing I think I wanted to talk about. Personally, I've done a lot of pinnacles on my warrior. That was also a map boss that was plus, what is that, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you know, map boss was pretty tanky. So I was like, I think it was like 4 million health or something like that. I've done a couple expeditions to get points, pinnacles on warrior, and then I've done a couple zesh to get the points. I haven't done any of the ritual yet. I want to, but it's kind of hard to do ritual, I find. And then Simulacrum, I don't even know if this build could do it. I don't think it has the sustain yet. Could it eventually do it? Probably. And then Arbiter is obviously kind of on the list next. But let's go over sort of the points that I've picked, what you can do differently. I've done Rare Monsters Duplicated. This is just a must for me, personally. If you want to do something else, you can, but this is a must. I pretty much went for total quantity and, what is it, chance to be a tier higher for Waystones. I grabbed basically all of those nodes because I want to find as many Waystones and Precursor Tablets as possible. I also went for this for 20% chance for double effect of Precursor Tablets on your maps. This is really nice for the ones that have Quant, but it's also nice for the ones that have, say, like I'm using a Breach one and it has a chance for an additional Breach and it's like 8%, then it could potentially be 16%, which is a very often chance that you're going to get a second Breach in your map. And then I'm doing a little bit of Essence, like nothing crazy. And then I went for more rarity and quantity of Waystones, and then just more rarity, more quantity, and then, yeah, Waystones have chance to be higher, and rarity of Waystones. You could also take, like, increased effect of explicits and stuff like that, and maybe this quantity node and all that. But this is kind of what I've been running for so far, and I haven't really wanted to switch from it since I've been doing this. So it's been really nice. It's definitely not the most efficient for currency. If you wanted, like, more currency, probably do, like, the swamp and water biome, local knowledge node, which, like, greatly buffs the amount of currency items that you're going to drop from the swamp and water biomes. But yeah, that is pretty much it, guys. I don't think I have too much else to talk about. I'll show you my character sheet. I've just got, you know, cap resistances, a little tiny bit of life regen, max ES recharge per second is 566. I've got 10,000, almost 11,000 evasion. Yeah, that's pretty much it, I think. Yeah, guys, I have a link in the description for the Mobalytics guide, which is just going to be the gems and the passive tree. So feel free to use that if you want, if you're leveling a monk as well right now. This has been working really well for me. I'm just going to keep doing this. Next stop is CI, and then once I go CI, it's pretty much just like farming tons of rituals to get myself an ingenuity, and then we're kind of hitting the ground running. So yeah, guys, that's going to do it for today's video. I don't really have much more to talk about with this guy. I think I will, once he's in a more finished state, I'll probably do a guide, or once I learn enough about the build. I don't really like putting out stuff unless I'm really thorough with the information or kind of know what I'm talking about. With this guy, I'm still learning quite a bit, so I don't really want to be misleading in any way. But yeah, basically, the next stop is CI, get an ingenuity, kind of farm out, get a bunch more damage, a lot more flat damage on gloves and rings. And then, yeah, we're going to be doing pinnacles left and right. I'm kind of nervous about nerfs to the Heralds. I think that a potential nerf that they could do is that Heralds are no longer allowed to inflict elemental ailments because, you know, obviously Herald of Thunder can't shock and Herald of Ice can't freeze. I think the way that they would kill them entirely is if they said that both of them cannot inflict ailments, which would completely nullify the whole build, and I would have to actually farm that pole circling ring for the freeze explosions. So I don't even know. They might even nerf that version because it's also very strong, but the unique's pretty much built around it, so I have no idea, man. I hope that this doesn't get nerfed, but if it does, you know, we just throw with the punches. For single target, it's really not nerfed in any way. We're only using one bell. If you're using multiple bells in your setup, see you later, because I think that is going to get patched out. And with Grim Feast, we can always go for Meditate on the Ascendancy here. It just gonna show it in case you don't know. But yeah, the basically it has the same effect of Grim Feast. It's just you're not passively recovering energy shield as you map. You kind of use it at the start of a map or the start of a boss fight or in between packs. Like if you're really low on energy shield, you could use this to get double. And you know, you can walk around with 18k ES if you want to again. Like it's kind of it works. It's fine. So if Grim Feast gets nerfed, we'll be fine that way. But yeah, this build, I'm really looking forward to pushing this because I feel like this has a really good foundation. Monk is very versatile, so if I do need to swap to anything, we're gonna be kind of chilling. But anyways, guys, yeah, I'll be live streaming this dude quite a bit, so if you want to come check it out, feel free. And yeah, if you like the video, like and subscribe too, all that good stuff. Thank you. I hate fucking saying that, but apparently as a YouTuber, you gotta say that stuff. Anyway, if you like the video, if you give me a like. Cheers, guys. I'll see you in the next one.